Hi everyone, good evening. Hello. Good evening everyone. And as always, I'm going to go on to check on you guys on my mobile device. How are you all doing? Okay, we are here. Okay. Everything looks good. Hi guys. Good evening. How are you? Hi Meg. How are you? I see you now. How are you? How are you doing? Good evening. Hi Falaka. Good evening. How are you? And how are you doing? Hi, Mimi. Hi, Mimi. Did you get my email? Okay, check your email. How are you all doing? Good evening. Welcome. Good evening. How are you doing? Hello. Hi, everyone on Instagram as well. Good evening. How are you doing? Welcome to our Facebook. Well, now it's not Facebook Live anymore, it's both Facebook and Instagram. So, welcome to our live. Hey, Mimi. Happy New Year, right? How are you? Welcome. Good evening. How's your week going? Hi, Funke. Good evening. Welcome, everyone. Please, if you're here, kindly introduce yourselves in the comments as we get started. Please introduce yourself and where you're from, and we can get started shortly. Let's see. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our live session tonight. I hope you're doing well. Okay, this says everything looks good. Perfect. How are you all doing? Good evening. How is your week going? Okay, I see all your names on here being tagged. Welcome, 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 welcome. And whatever platform you are, please do the same. Kindly put your names in the comments and where you're from. Where are you connecting from tonight? As we get into our discussion. Hi, Funke. How are you? Good evening. Hi, Deboale. Hi, hi. How are you doing? Hi, Redme. Iambe. Hi. Good evening. How are you doing? And welcome. Okay, so we're gonna go right into my presentation. It's actually not that serious today. It's not a big training, it's a discussion, and I'll need you guys to participate, please. I would like to, well, like you always do, you guys do a great job participating. So I don't expect less, but let's make it a nice and interactive and interesting session. I would minimize my face so you can see the presentation better. Okay, so please continue to introduce yourselves in the comments and where you're from. And I'm going to go right into it. First of all, I am going to introduce myself like I always do on every live session because each time there's someone new who has no clue who I am. I am not that popular. My name is Yinka Olumorin, a coach at this wonderful, amazing platform, Acquire Real Estate, where we do real estate investing activities. So, buying properties, selling properties, not as real estate agents, but now as investors because we are purchasing and owning properties. And we also hold properties for passive income. That's what we do on this platform. And I welcome you on board. So please continue to introduce yourselves in the comments and where you're from. And also in the comments, if you could kindly drop what myths you have heard about real estate investing that you think is incorrect, okay? Because I know a lot of us have heard a lot of things about real estate investing, and sometimes you feel like it's not true, sometimes you're confused, sometimes you're unsure whether that's even something believable. So please type in the comments what kind of myths you come across in real estate investing, like things that are not entirely true because maybe you've done better research and you see that things are actually different. And that's what we'll be talking about tonight: myths in real estate investing, real estate investing myths. Why is this important? It's important because these things can actually stop people from making the right decision to do real estate investing, because real estate investing is great. And so if you have obstacles or confusions, then pretty much stops you from doing great things. And that's why we want to talk about some myths that you should consider discarding or getting rid of. So yeah, let's go into it. Myth number 1: real estate is only for wealthy people. Please type in the comments if you have heard this before. Have you heard this before? That real estate investing is only for wealthy people. And we're going to talk about why it is or is not. So, anyone heard that real estate investing is for wealthy people? People who have money, people who can afford it, people who have some background, some kind of connection. What do you guys say? What do you say? What do you say? And I'm introducing Meg here as well. Meg is my assistant. Thank you for being here. She's the best, and she's going to take care of your comments and respond. Yeah, so I see some comments here saying, yes, I heard. Yeah, that is true. If you're in the coaching program, you already know that that's not true. I know Mimi can say that now she realizes that's not true, right? So it looks like a no brainer, but actually, this is something that stops a lot of people from doing the right thing or doing what they want to do because they actually want to invest in real estate, but they don't, or they feel like they cannot because of this. So, yes, it is not true. Many successful investors started out broke. Okay, they had no money, they started from scratch. If there's any place that is great for starting from scratch, it is real estate investing because there's so much opportunity to leverage. There's so much opportunity to leverage funding, a lot of opportunity to leverage finance, even partnerships, credits. Have you heard of how we buy properties or do down payments with credit cards, the business credit cards, and even still have that not affect your personal credit? So things like that. We do a lot of leverage to create wealth, right? Even creative financing. So absolutely, this is wrong. Real estate investing is not only for wealthy people. But yes, it can make you wealthy if you know what you're doing and if you know the right things to do in real estate investing. So yes. Okay. Good job, everyone. Okay, so we're gonna go to the next one. Anyone heard this? You can only invest locally. Is this true or false? What do you think? And I think some people still feel like, what do you think? Do you think that you can do like virtual real estate investing? What do you think? Can you invest outside of where you are? Do you think it's tough? If you think you can, type yes. If you think it's tough, type tough in the comments. So far, like I said, false. Of course, we already called the myth, right? I know, but what are your thoughts? Do you think it's tough to do? To Because you feel like you have to be on the property, you have to check out the repairs, you have to supervise everyone, you have to make sure everyone is there, you have to babysit everyone. Mimi says, yes, you can virtually invest in real estate. And that is correct. Why can you do that? Because you have to leverage a team of people who would help you. As a real estate investor, you should not ideally be hopping from one property to another property, like someone that has no life, right? As a real estate investor, your responsibility is actually to be organized and to be able to organize that project, whether you're local or not. Okay, so you're setting up efficient teams out of state or virtually. Okay, so you need people in your team, people like property managers, people like realtors, attorneys, closing companies. You would need an appraiser or home inspector, contractor, of course. You set up a team of people who help carry out what you need done out of state. Okay, so you're not either of those, and you cannot be either of those except you want to exhaust yourself, and that's not what we do. The good thing, the actually, I will call it the truth. The truth about this is if you're exerting yourself in real estate investing, it means that you're spending your time on things that you should not be doing, of course. And that means you're spending less time on things that you should be doing, like getting more deals done, like making sure your business is doing well, thinking. The time to think is so important as an entrepreneur. And if you're a coaching student here, already an entrepreneur, you know that you need that time to just sit down and reflect on your business. Sit down and think of what you're doing. Sit down and think about what strategies can bring better results. What are the 80% of things I'm doing that I should not be doing? And what is that, 20% that I should be doing that's supposed to bring results into my business? But as it is, if you're all over the place, flying from one city to another, you don't really have, you wouldn't or might not have that time to do this because you just want to do and keep doing. But a lot of times you get the best results mentally when you're thinking about the right things to do. Okay. So, yes, definitely investing out of state is possible. As a matter of fact, some of our students have not even seen any of their rental properties before. And we're talking property number 8 and so on. So, absolutely extremely possible to do this. Okay, so myth debunked. We'll go to myth number 3. And yes, do you guys hear this? Do you think hard money loans are legitimate? If you think they're legitimate, please type that in the comments. Type legitimate in the comments if you think that they're real and they're not a scam. Do you think hard money loans are legitimate? And actually, let's see what anybody else thinks because I also have something to say about that. So let me know if you think otherwise because your thoughts might be valid. Do you think that hard money loans are scam? Let's type that in the comments. Do you think hard money loans are scam? Okay, Stella says they're real, of course. Hello, don't be aggressive. Hey, Stella, how are you? Okay, of course, right? In fact, Mimi says, in fact, some people don't believe there are hard money lenders. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I think what I hear most about hard money lenders is the high interest rates that they charge, and they feel like, because it's hard money, it's like, it sounds like Judgment Day or something. It sounds like someone coming at you. It sounds like someone that's going to be after you because they give you some money and they're expecting outrageous interest that can ruin you, right? But here is our experience in real estate investing. Although these lenders can be at maybe even up to 10% to 12% on short-term projects like fix and flips, and that's the only time you need hard money lending. That's actually the only thing they would fund, except they move you over to a different loan products. So when you're talking hard money, you're talking of short-term loans for short-term projects like fix and flips or bridge loans. And yes, definitely, because what you're asking for is also risky, right? It's business. They charge high interest rates because you're doing construction, because they're doing you a favor of funding the deal, or doing both parties a favor. So they are fine getting a high interest. So how do you know that you are fine getting or paying a high interest rate? You have to analyze your deal. So what we see inside of real estate investing is you're paying this hard money lender 10%, for instance, or you're making 50K. So let me ask you, would you rather not pay 10% and make $0 because you don't want to pay high interest rates? And of course, if you're making any amount on your deal analyzer that doesn't make sense, you don't go for the deal. But if the deal looks juicy, then it's good for both parties. Or would you rather partner at 50-50 and share that $50,000 with somebody else because you feel more comfortable? And you're $25, $25,000 each split. So either way, you're making more, or actually, let's say without the interest, now you're at 60K, right? Because you don't have to pay interest to hard money. But somebody comes in and funds the deal and says, we're going to split 50-50. Yes, you're happy, you feel comfortable that you're not getting a hard money loan or high interest mortgage. But at the end of the day, you're making less money doing a partnership than actually getting the hard money loan on board. So they're not scam, but you can actually get into scam. There are a few hard money lenders out there that scam people, and they ask you to bring money up front. If anyone is asking you to bring money up front, don't do it. Okay? So money is only dispensed at closing. Outside of closing, the only fund you should be dispersing would be for appraisal. Outside of appraisal, you should not be paying anyone any amounts. They are not going to pick your call afterwards. They will scam you. So yes, there are scammers out there that pretend to be hard money lenders, but there are also a ton of legitimate hard money lenders. As a matter of fact, if you don't have that ebook on hard money lending, type ebook in the comments and I'll have Meg send that over to you guys. So just type ebook in the comments if you don't have the breakdown of different hard money lenders. I think it has up to 20 legitimate hard money lenders on there. So if you need that, definitely type ebook in the comments and we'll pass that over to you. Okay. So yes, myth debunked. Let's go to number 4. Myth number 4: you can't make money without ownership. You can't make money without ownership. Is this correct? Anyone heard this before? Or what do you think? Do you think you can make money without owning a property? If you think so, what ways do you think people, or have you heard of, or you have personal experience of, what ways can someone make money without owning the property? What ways? Yeah, Mimi, screaming lies, huh? Yeah. Yeah. So, what ways do you think that you can make money without owning the property? Okay, Stella says syndicates. Okay. In syndications, you also own the property. So you're part of that equity. But yeah, that's close. Yes, wholesaling. Flinke says wholesaling. Mimi says property manager. Okay. Wholesaling is definitely correct. Actually, property manager, that's actually creative, right? But how about let's talk bigger money? Yeah, that's correct, technically. But, it's not a lot of people that want to go through that hassle to make that 10% off the rent every month. So if you wanted to do better, what do you think? I see a lot of wholesaling here. What do you guys think? Hi, Doris from Baltimore on Instagram. How are you doing? Just came real quick to check on you guys. Okay, so I'm going to go back on Facebook and I'll be back on Instagram. What do you guys think? How about lease options? You're making money without owning the property. How about now that I said lease option, maybe it's going to ring a bell on something else. Someone says gap lending. Maybe not. Okay, I get what you're saying. But if you were like a real estate investor, let's talk about real estate investing exit strategies. So that's why we're not gonna say property manager, and we're not gonna say gap lending. These are all important members of your team. REITSs. Okay. Do you not own the property with that? I have to look. Okay. So the other option, and it's pretty straightforward, you'll be surprised. It's Airbnb arbitrage, guys. Airbnb arbitrage, where you're subleasing a landlord's property to rent out as Airbnb, and you're making the difference in what you pay as rent and what you get from the Airbnb or short-term rental platform. After subtracting that rent and your expenses, you have your profits. Okay, so Funke said subject to. The only thing is you actually own the property with subject to. You actually own it. So you're taking over the mortgage payments, but now the deed of that property is actually in your name or your LLC name. Yes. So you can make, but good try, everyone. Great job. Yes, you can make money without owning a property. Okay. Myth number 5. Anyone heard of this before? You can't own real estate without the banks. True or false? You can't own real estate without the banks. If you say false, in what ways do you think you can own real estate without the banks? In what ways do you think you can own real estate without the banks? Okay, I see false here. Well, how can you own real estate without using a bank? Funke, you can retype what you typed before. That's a clue over there. That's a clue right there. Yes, it's false, false. What what ways can you own real estate without banks? Oh, someone on Instagram will also have false. Hi there. Um, yeah, see your due diligence with the company. Hi, Yolande, how are you? Oh, you guys have some comments on here as well. Sorry. Okay. All right. So someone says personal cash inheritance. Inheritance. Okay, I got you. That was probably on the previous one, but hey. All right. Listen. Okay. So Funke said before under the other category, she said subject to. Okay, so subject to, you're not using the banks. You don't have to go apply for a mortgage. Okay. You don't have to go applying for a mortgage under subject to. So you don't need the banks. You're really taking over somebody else's payments, mortgage payments. So you're not going to technically apply. The other way is, maybe that rings a bell. House hacking. You still need a bank. Well, if you choose to for house hacking, buy with cash. I like that one. That's so smart. Buy with cash so you don't need the bank. I get the drifts. Okay, what if you didn't want to buy with cash? Okay. Well, the other option is, but I like that road. So the other option is seller financing. Okay. Seller financing, where the owner or the seller of the property becomes the bank. So you don't need a bank. The seller wants to earn interest on a monthly basis and make more money on that property. They're not desperate to sell. They want to make more money. Regardless of how long it takes, or maybe another 5 years, and that gives you the opportunity to start to own the property and maybe refinance at a later time. Okay, so yes, definitely subject to seller financing are two ways you can own real estate without the banks. Okay, good job. Myth number 6: taxes will kill your profits. Anyone heard this before? Taxes will kill your profits. On the contrary, you save money on taxes. If you guys could educate me or give me that feedback, because you guys already know this stuff. How do you benefit from taxes as a real estate investor? Can you type the different way you benefit from taxes by owning properties? Okay, I see what you're saying. Probably if not planned well. Okay, yeah. So if you don't do any tax sessions or tax strategies, or maybe if you were filing your tax returns on TurboTax by yourself, that's a possibility. If you, yeah, you definitely need professional help. Yes. So what ways do we benefit from taxes in real estate investing? In what ways do we benefit from taxes? Okay. So you heard about depreciation. So with depreciation, the government thinks you're losing money, right? Or they assume that your property is losing value, whereas your property is actually appreciating, right? So it's the property value is going higher as opposed to depreciating, right? So with depreciation, you get those credits. You also get mortgage interests deductions, right? So your interests are also deductible to your taxes, and definitely other tax benefits. Thing is, so if you are a high income earner on a regular job, you can take advantage of things like cost segregation study. I know that's a little bit more advanced, and bonus depreciation actually, if you own things like short-term rentals. Okay. And that's why it's good to have a good accountant. They can advise you accordingly on how to get the best benefits. Okay. So those are examples of how you can actually save on taxes. So buying that one property, two properties, or owning multiple can actually save you a good chunk on taxes. So if you're a W-2 earner and you're paying a lot in taxes, you probably want to change your ways, because the tax code is done differently to favor people who have a business. So you need to have one. Okay. That's simple. You need to have one. Okay. So yeah, definitely you need an investor savvy accountant to help you, to advise and to help you implement those strategies. So there are tons of ways to save. Let's go to myth number 7. Anyone heard of this? Paying off the mortgage quickly is best. What do you guys think? Do you guys think we should pay off all our mortgages or hold on to them forever? Maybe not forever, but what are your thoughts? Should we be paying off mortgages really? Maybe save some money to pay off your mortgage? What do you think? Or pay every month, pay some extra every month, extra mortgage payments. What do you think, guys? You think is a great idea, or you wouldn't do that? Someone says it depends. Depends on what? Oh no, don't pay off. Someone says yes. Someone says lies. What is a lie? Hi, for like, what's the lie? Payoff or not payoff? So, okay. Yolan says no. Absolutely. Okay. Pay extra. Huh? No. Okay, so no, don't pay extra. Well, it's up to you if you want to do that. But the investor savvy ROI or real estate, or rather return on investment savvy way to do that would be to have the mortgages leverage. If you don't know why this is so, if you're not sure why you should hold on to mortgages, um I just recently did a reel I can send over to you that explains that. So it actually explains that in numbers. So type real in the REEL, of course, real in the comments, and I'll send the link over to you so you watch. It's probably like a 1 minute, 30 seconds watch. And because I want you to watch it because it does have the demonstration on there. Okay. So you're going to yield better returns than paying off early. Remember, if you have a mortgage, you know that you have an amortization schedule, right? When you start the mortgage in the beginning, you're paying more into interests. Some people make the mistake of getting halfway through or like actually being towards the end, like maybe a few years left, and you decided, I'm just going to pay it off. Those few years left are actually the years that you pay more into the principal, into the actual loan amounts, as opposed to earlier. So earlier you're paying more interest. Later on, you're paying less interest. So if you're paying less interest later on, you're just paying a few dollars in interest. Why should you pay it off if you can use your money for something else, maybe as down payment for another property? And this is going to ease off quickly and easily, right? Because most of your money or your monthly payment is now going directly to reduce the amount of loan in the beginning. For the first year, for a 500K mortgage, sometimes in the first year you probably haven't even paid up to $5,000. Unfortunately, even though you're paying close to 5K or 4K every single month, you've not for 12 months of payments, you've probably not paid up to $5,000 in the beginning. And then towards the end, most of the money, that money, or that 4,000 for 500, goes directly into balancing the mortgage. So when you look at the amortization schedule, you're actually going to advise yourself not to touch a loan that's almost done or almost wrapping up if it's amortized, like the 30-year mortgages and things like that. So yes, we should take advantage of leverage, use that money to secure another property. Okay. And I think the real is going to educate you. So I will send that over. And then the next one here, we have 10 total. Myth number 8 says tenants are a nightmare. Wouldn't you agree? What do you think? Do you think tenants are a nightmare? Do you think not? Do you think, what do you think? What do you guys hear about tenants? What do you think? What do you guys think about tenants? Are they a nightmare, or does it depend? Do you think it depends? Do you think generally not advisable, or do you think there's a way around it? Just type in the comments what you think. Okay. So what I'm going to tell you guys is getting a tenant is a good tenant is not by luck. Okay. So getting a good tenant is not by luck, guys. You're not lucky to land a good tenant. It's by structure. Okay. Because if it were by luck, then owning rentals will not be a proper business. It would be a gamble, right? So it's not by luck. And that's why there's a system that works for tenant screenings. The issue is a lot of landlords skip those processes, maybe because they are cajoled into that, or they rent a family, they can't say a word, or they know someone that knows that person, or They felt pity for the occupants, and they just trusted and had a good rapport with them and figured they wouldn't need to go through processes. And some landlords don't even have a clue that there should be a screening process for a tenant. So using the right screening processes would actually, well, one certain process for your business. So there might be different processes, but you need one for your business. So using the right system would definitely reduce your risks for problematic tenants. So after doing all of that, is it possible that you might still have a tenant issue? It is possible that you might, maybe one in 90, or maybe one in 15, or maybe one in 20. But usually these things happen because you missed something. It might be a life event, and in that case, because you've already screened in a good tenant, they're not giving you issues, right? Because they have good character already. So part of your screening process is actually looking at the kind of person, right? And if for any reason in the future you go through an eviction process, I'm going to tell you one thing right now. It's not even the end of the world. Because imagine you have 20 properties, one is going through an eviction. Because I want you to think about it. What is the worst thing that can happen? And in business, you always have to be optimistic. That's how you win. Okay. That's how you win. It's not as though there are no risks. You're doing everything within your power to limit your risks. Okay. And also being optimistic. But if it happens, are you going to close down your business? No, you're not going to close down your business. You follow the due process for eviction, and you're out and you screen somebody else in. Okay. So out of overall, it's a net gain. Okay. But you need to be extremely cautious. If it's going to be your first tenant, maybe even be involved in the screening process, just so you're also making sure that you're screening the right person. Okay. I think I also did a reel on this recently. Anyways, follow me on IG if you want to see my reels. But yeah, I have a reel on this. Maybe it was even yesterday that I did this one. So, when there, myth number 9, only full time investors can succeed. Only full time investors can succeed. Has anyone heard of this? And also, I'm just going to go over your comments. Sick tenants are a nightmare. Lol. Okay. Yeah, maybe I can see how that's possible. Also, when you're screening, when you're choosing who your tenant should be, you're looking at their income, right? You're looking at someone who potentially has, more a steadier job. Sometimes people are like, oh, your healthcare and all that stuff. So healthcare is easy to find a job and things like that. But also, you also don't want to be seen as being biased, right, in your selection process. So you are actually using your due diligence to see what kind of job they have. Do you think their jobs are sustainable? um is this a single person? Is this person married? Maybe do they both have jobs? If somebody's job, if something happens to someone's job, can another person pick up? Do they both have good income? There are a lot of factors that go into this, the income screening side of things. So you want to make sure that either way, no matter what, hopefully that they would be able to afford it. And also, part of that screening process is references from previous landlord. So you want to make sure that they haven't gotten into those kind of issues before. Someone says it depends if they're properly screened and no life mishap. You're right. I think it depends. Just don't get our people. Stella, I'm not gonna complete what you said. I don't know what you mean by that. And here I have another comment saying if there's a deposit, and if there's a deposit, yeah, it's very important to get those security deposits. Sometimes a month these days actually might not cover a lot. 1 month cannot might not cover a lot, but you might need actually 2 months in this day and age, especially in states where your your eviction process is a nightmare, is in months. So you want to make sure you're covered. And some people charge more in security rent because they feel like it's a higher risk tenant. Maybe they're just the only ones. There's no supportive partner or anything that can help. And you just go on a case by case basis, but you should, try to be at least a 2 month rent security deposit kind of scenario. Okay, yeah, so good contribution there about deposit. And someone says here, myth number 9, false. Only full-time investors can succeed. You are correct. Not only full-time investors can succeed. You can succeed as a part-time investor. Okay, as a part-time investor. I'm sorry. So yeah, you probably have heard of this before. Let me just look on here to see. Okay, just have to do your due diligence with the company. Okay. Okay, I see your comments. All right, thank you for contributing. And I'm going to go right in here. So, yeah, only full time investors can succeed. That is not true. Many successful investors work full time jobs while investing on the side. Even within our community, guys, even here, even on this chat, anyone can do it. Yeah, on this chat, I think I saw Kende to sign on to the chat, and he was here last week. You know, we have some other doctors in our community too, but Kende is a pediatrician, and he told us last week, even though he's working on two deals currently, he works 40 to 80 hours a week, guys. So anybody can do it regardless. Yes, life is crazy, and I understand. Life is crazy, but you have to do what you have to do so that life won't remain crazy. Okay, you better do it now because life will always be crazy. All right. And there is a resource I have for you as well here. How to invest in real estate part-time. It's a guide. If you feel like you're struggling with that and you need to understand how that would work. You can type guide in the comments. Type guide in the comments and we'll send over the resource to you. How to invest in real estate part-time. It is a guide. So you can type guide in the comments and we will reach out to you about that. For folks on Instagram, just because for some reason the chat does disappear, if you don't get that, please message me and I'll send that over to you. But type guide in the comments. Okay, and myth number 10, real estate is too complex or too complicated for beginners. How many of you guys here think that real estate investing is too complicated for beginners? So, yes, there is work to do. However, beginners do it all year long. Think about it. How many people had no clue what real estate investing was? And they got to figure it out. So, you're going to figure it out. The best part is you don't need to try to figure it out on your own. Definitely, if you have the right guidance and support, some people don't have that, and I understand it can be tough. But if you have the right guidance and support, anyone can start and succeed in real estate. And if you're looking for guide, if you're looking for support, I definitely introduce you into coaching, our Acquire Real Estate Coaching Program. I can tell you about it briefly. So the coaching program is for you if you're looking to buy properties or sell properties or hold properties for profits, passive income, monthly passive income. We cover wholesaling, flips, constructions, rentals, and strategies like Airbnb. Okay, and it is newbie oriented. Absolutely newbie oriented. It's more of a step by step process. And you will know how to analyze and choose a property by the third week. That's how we have it structured. And by the sixth week, you're able to secure a wholesale, a flip, a rental deal. Okay. And that is our structure. You have your LLC set up, you get help with setting up your LLC. And that's actually also very important to do things the right way, to set up your business LLC the right way. So, yeah, type coaching in the comments if you think that you would benefit from coaching. Also, we also help you with your business credit setup. New students generally or typically are able to raise around 100K in business credits, especially if you have good credit score. So if you have somewhere around 700 plus credit, You're going to see exactly how to do that. That's typically around week 2. And we also have lenders that are affiliates with our program also that fund our deals. So all kinds of lenders had money and so on. And we keep growing our lists. So yes, actually just recently we introduced Deal Flow, which is a membership that helps our students with already analyzed deals estimated to make a profit from $40,000 and up. Yes, yes. So our wonderful VAs do that and they put those on there for our students. So imagine if you have deals already presented to you estimated to make a certain amount. Yes, you're going to go back punching your numbers and verify, but that really cuts down on the work for you. So yes, the only thing I'm going to say is, guys, it's not magic. Every business needs work. So I want to set the expectation you need to contribute your quota to your business. We are here to help your efforts yield results that you would be proud of. Okay. So Daria and I are here to help you guys. And he will also give you direct guidance on your projects. So, anyways, type coaching in the comments if you think that will benefit you, and we will chat with you. Just to let you know, this year is different. So if you know one of your goals this year is to get coaching from this platform, the earlier you get in, the better. Number one, because it's good for you, obviously, because you can start to do deals more quickly. But number two, we have limited spots available. So it's better to get in before you hear the word, unfortunately. Okay, hopefully that won't be you. So so type coaching in there and we'll reach out to you. It was nice being here. Please say good night in the comments to everyone. If you can say good night to everyone, if you can say good night in the comments, and we'll see you later. Have a great and wonderful evening. I think this is let's see, trying to remember. You did Doris. Hi, Doris, on Instagram. If you want to message me, I think that might be better just because I'm still trying to figure out how Instagram Live works. Thank you. Yolande says ARE makes it very easy. Thank you, Yolande. So coaching, okay, Doris. So reach out to you. Good night, everyone. Thank you for typing that in the comments. Mimi says, thank you, Coach Inka. You're the best. Thank you so much, Mimi. You're the best as well. Thank you. Good night, everyone. Have a great night. And I'm going to end the live now. Bye.